Hey up Lyric Lounge, hope you're alright. My name is Sophie Sparham, aka Sophie Ranks, and for my Story Seeker, what should I call it, project? I'll call it a project. I've decided to write about the Derbyshire LGBT plus community, as I feel it's really an important part of Derby. And this poem is called Pride, and it's dedicated to Andy Brown. Like lions, they tore us apart to protect their pride. They ripped us open with a hunger so fierce just to work out what's inside. But I'd rather starve. I'd rather starve. I'd rather let my stomach roar, louder than the growls of hatred coming through this cafe's walls. This door has been open since time began, but still they choose to hunt for their feast. There's a difference in being an animal and the history of being a beast. And when they stabbed pink triangles into our chest, they called it pride. When they stoned queers while paedophiles were blessed, they called it pride. When they shouted faggot and pervert down busy city streets, they called it pride. When they joined in with the beating received from the police, they called it pride. When they told little boys they were going to hell before they even went to school, they called it pride. And when they expelled teens for breaking hearts instead of breaking rules, they called it pride. When she scared us into silence with Section 28, she called it pride. Not realising the only promotion was the promotion of hate to protect her pride. When they did not offer us aid, but branded us with AIDS, they called it pride. And as their colours grew bolder, while ours started to fade, they called it pride. While they plotted murder, we plotted suicide, all for the sake of pride. But I feel no shame. I feel no shame. I feel no shame. In skin, rubbing skin, granting wishes, in cities that are bottled up with hate. And I feel no shame. I feel no shame. I feel no shame. In the beating hope of hearts, instead of beating out the chance of fate. Dear little queer girl, when you're too scared to step foot from your room, remember that there's those that have walked lifetimes for you. Back and forth, they've re-imprinted their footstep in the sand. Every time the tide is tried to take their land. Dear Andy, I wish we could meet 40 years into the future and 10 years into the past, for you to take these quivering hands into the arms of progress and show them that love can last. Andy, they will not write your name in history books, nor broadcast it on TV, nor sing it in song or verse, but your footsteps will remain forever within the spirit of these words. Without compass, without cape, you found a way to shout. You were one of the bricks that built these stone walls to block prejudice out. You kept your foundations as you cemented your message clear and loud. This is the true meaning of what it is to be proud. And when we march not into war, but into love, we called it pride. When we listened to grounded justification instead of word from above, we called it pride. When trans became untransparent through government eyes, we called it pride. When we walked home torn and bloody messes with a catwalk stride, we called it pride. When they said unmatched, we said equal, and we called it pride. When the same sex became legal, we called it bare necessity. When we learnt pride without prejudice, we called it a much better romance. When polary tongues became sharp and venomous, we untwisted their dance. With God as our witness, we vowed not to hide. When we held hands, we held the revolution, all for something so simple as pride. How queer that animals have battled for thousands of years, with claws, with words, with clubs, fighting with raging hearts against something so natural as love.